Welcome to Believers Talk and Week 5 in the National Football League. My name is Joe, and in this edition of Believers Talk, we are going to break down the game between the Tennessee Titans and the Buffalo Bills. Some of that home cooking, as I like to say. We are finally back home after 2 consecutive games on the road, 2 tough games. We played the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. We finally get to come back home for our second home game of the season. For those of you who remember, we went 6-2 last year at home, and we're looking to do the same this year. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. A lot of you are thinking I'm nuts. A lot of you are thinking I'm crazy for thinking that the Bills can maybe even win this week and maybe do a little bit better than what a lot of the experts have said. But remember last year, guys. Remember last year. As my phone goes nuts. Sorry, guys. But remember last year. Also, I am getting over being sick. If you watched my live stream on Tuesday, I was just getting sick, and then it got worse. Now it's getting better. So we're here with you. For those of you enjoying the Thursday night game, it looks like it's going to be a blowout. I think the Patriots already winning 24-3. For my fellow Buffalonians out there, you just got done watching the Sabres get shut out in their home opener 4-0 to the Boston Bruins. Always tough to lose. Worst lose to the Boston Bruins, but that's okay. So, getting into this game against the Titans, like I was talking about, guys, if you remember last year, go back to week 9 of last year. Week 9 of last year, we were going into a Thursday night game against the Jets. Everyone thought we were going to win that game. We ended up losing 34-21. Get 10 days off. 10 days off, and we come back home and we think, oh, we'll do better at home because, like I said, we finished 6-2 at home last year. We lose 47-10 to the New Orleans Saints with that touchdown coming late in the fourth quarter. I think it was our last drive to make that 47-10. Nathan Peterman led that drive. So, of course, Coach McDermott, what's he do the following week? Puts in Nathan Peterman against the LA Chargers. Don't have to remind you all about that game. 54-24 with that game being over at halftime and Tyrod coming back in to score some points for the Bills. So in those 3 games, in that 3-game stretch, not only did it drop us to 5-5, we were outscored in those 3 games 135-56. 135-56. And that team went 9-7. That team made the playoffs. So maybe it's not, let's not talk about giving up. All right? Because there's still a long way to go in the season, guys. We're only 4 games in, and there's still plenty of time to come back and make this a little bit better for ourselves. We're back home. Let's see what happens. Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans a little bit. They are currently 3-1. So they're a formidable opponent. They've looked really good the past 3 weeks. Their first loss was at Miami, where they lost 27-20. They're in week 2. They beat the Texans in Houston. No, it was in Tennessee. They beat them 20-17. Then they beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville 9-6 in a game where neither team scored touchdowns. And then in week 4, just last week, for those of you who missed it, a great game coming down to, I believe it was the last play of overtime, if not the last play, like time-wise even. It was the last actual play, but I think there was like 4 seconds on the clock. So it was kind of intense. They went for the win instead of going for the tie on a couple occasions, and ended up beating the Eagles 26-23. So that's how they get to 3-1 on the season. Bills obviously 1-3, lost to the Ravens 47-3 week 1. Lost to the Chargers at home 31-20. Then we end up beating Minnesota in a game that no one saw coming. Good for suicide pools if you're in a suicide pool. I'm still in mine. Very excited about that. And then, of course, last week we put up that bagel. Put up that bagel against Green Bay. So that makes us 1-3 on the season. So these 2 teams are teams that are looking like they're going in opposite directions. Both teams made the wild card last year. What do the Bills have to do to win this game? Again, first thing is it's at home. And that's huge, guys. Home field advantage is huge. Some of you watching this stream right now might be going to that Bills game. So make sure your presence is felt at that Bills game. Make sure you are loud. Make sure that people can hear you and they know that you are there, because that's a huge presence. We have some of the best fans. We are one of the best fan bases in the NFL. Make sure that that presence is heard come Sunday, okay? Also, number 2, we need to improve. Josh Allen needs to continue to improve. We saw last week he actually seemed to digress, not improve on that success he had against Minnesota. And maybe the crowd noise was a factor. Maybe that will help him this week as well. So maybe that goes into that a little bit. But we saw him throw an interception that looked very identical to the interception he threw week 2 against the Chargers. He needs to do better than that. Don't throw across your body into the middle of the field. This isn't Wyoming. This isn't Division 1A college that isn't in the Big Five program. These are NFL athletes. They are going to pick you off every time you do that. So what was open in Wyoming is not open in the NFL. So remember that. Continue to improve, and we'll see what happens. Number 2, or maybe number 3. I don't know. I lose count easily. Daboll needs to do better. Okay? Brian Daboll needs to make better play calls. He needs to be more ready on the offensive side of the ball. We need to get McCoy into the game. Guys, we still think that McCoy is one of the better backs in the league. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. He has hit that 30 number, so we all know about that. However, he hasn't even had the shot to prove himself as one of the best backs. So I'm not even sure if he is one of the best backs or not, but I want to find out. Last week against Green Bay, he had 8 touches, 5 rushes, 3 receptions. That's not enough. That's not enough. We need to get McCoy the ball, and we need to get McCoy the ball early and often. We need to establish that run game because, guys, the next thing I'm going to say is highly effective on the run game. Daboll also needs to get Josh Allen in a rhythm. Okay, last week, first play of the game, we run a quick out to McCoy, 7-yard first down, or 7 yards on first down. We don't even pick up the first down in that series. Okay, we go 3 and out, punt. We can't do that. We need to get Josh Allen comfortable. We need to have Josh Allen complete a couple passes, get a couple first downs on those first couple drives, so we can be confident going in their next drive, and continue to build on that. We cannot go 3 and out. We cannot pass it on first down and then run on second, run on third, and not get there. Also, when we're inside the 10-yard line, our own 10-yard line, we cannot pass it 3 times. Josh Allen's feeling skittish. He's not sure what he's doing. Throws it too quickly. That release is not on time. And then we punt deep in our own territory. We can't have these things happen. So Daboll needs to do a much better job at calling plays in the huddle. Daboll needs to do a much better job scheming for this team. So, off a big unlikely win against the... Hold on, I'm trying to read people's comments. Sorry. Off a big unlikely win, Titans are playing away in Buffalo after a game where they had a bunch of luck converting 3 4th downs on last drive. That was crazy. They're going to score a lot unless we give it away. They aren't going to score a lot unless we give it away. I feel like that is actually correct. I feel like I completely agree with you. They feel like they're on a high emotional high after a huge win, and normally what happens is there's a letdown. Now, will the Titans let that happen, especially with a rookie head coach, still a young quarterback in Marcus Mariota, still an unproven quarterback in Marcus Mariota? We'll see. We saw the first 3 weeks of the season mostly week 2 and week 3, got some pressure on the quarterback with that defense. Going into last week's game, Jarrett Hughes was tied with Khalil Mack for the most QB pressures so far this season. And we need to continue with that. I'm pretty positive he's not up there anymore after last week. But I don't know if you can blame it on Jarrett Hughes as much as Aaron Rodgers just getting rid of that ball quickly. Well, we need to make sure that he is still... that Marcus Mariota feels that pressure, that we send Jerry Hughes. We send some unique blitzes. Remember, we had 2 sacks Aaron Rodgers. Both of them were on safety blitzes. One turned into a sack fumble. We need to send more unique blitzes. We need Leslie Frazier to also step up his game as well. Now, the defense played well last week, and they've been playing well for the past 3 weeks overall, but we still need them to step up, especially with some of the injuries at the safety position that we'll talk about in a little bit here. That safety position, those cornerbacks, a little banged up. I'm not going to lie. But we need to hopefully have some guys that fill in nicely. And they did last week. They were very admirable last week. Both Lewis and Johnson both fill in very nicely last week. I expect the same this week as well. That offensive line, big issue still, guys. I know we haven't talked about as much the past couple weeks just because of other things that have happened. That offensive line is still a huge issue for the Buffalo Bills. We have allowed 21 sacks through 4 games, guys. 21 sacks through 4 games. That's on pace to break the record for most sacks allowed. The most sacks ever allowed in an NFL season was back, I believe, in 2006. The Houston Texans allowed 76 sacks on Carr. I forget his first name. His brother's playing right now for the Raiders, and that's why I was getting confused. I think it's David Carr. 76 sacks. Well, we're on pace to allow 81 sacks. I'm not going to say Josh Allen's going to get sacked 81 times. Or, I'm sorry, 84 sacks. I'm not going to say Josh Allen's getting sacked 84 times. The first 3 were against Nathan Peterman. But that's still a lot. That's still way too many. We need to scheme better, so that is not an issue. Okay, week 3 against Minnesota, we did a great job of making that offensive line not look that bad. That's not because the offensive line isn't bad. This offensive line is bad, but we need to scheme better. We need to do better to make sure that our weakness does not show on the field on Sunday. This Titans defense is really good. This Titans defense is really good. We've seen in these games, Jacksonville was held to no touchdowns. Okay, the vaunted Eagles defense was held to 23 points, and that was in overtime. So we've seen this defense hold powerful offenses to mediocre scores, if not no touchdowns at all. We need to score points. We need to score points. Again, the name of the game is scoring points. The more points, if you score more points than the other team, that's how you win the game. So we need to score points. We need to get let that defense on the field for a little bit. Again, time of possession is huge, and that, again, goes back to the McCoy thing. Get that run game going. But we need to score points. Get pressure on the QB. Again, inconsistencies there. Leslie Frazier, huge fan. Coach McDermott, huge fan. But we definitely need to get pressure on the QB. So that is the breakdown. That's the kind of like the keys to victory that I have. I want to go through the injury report. We went through with both teams how they got to this point. This is week 5 of the NFL season, guys. We're already a quarter of the way through the season. If you're a Patriots or a Colts fan, you're more than that because you're already at halftime of your week 5 game. But I feel Trey White can lock up Corey Davis. I hope so. I mean, Trey White has done a great job all season. I mean, if anyone's watching the Buffalo Bills, you know that Tre'Davious White is doing a great job all year. The number ones on these teams are not the ones beating us. Okay? It's not the number ones. It's mostly the slot guys, actually. It's mostly that corner 3 safety linebacker position that we need to improve as far as coverage goes, because it's mostly those slot guys that are beating us in these games. So we'll see what happens. I mean, even Adams. Adams had a good game, but not for Adams. You know what I'm saying? So I just won't be surprised. Because, and again, they were picking on Lewis a lot. New corner. I think he did a great job. Forced 2 fumbles. We didn't recover either of them. But I really do think he did a good job last week. So on Allison, I believe it was. So I really, John Moore Allison, yeah. So I really think he did well. I expect improvement from that area this week. But we'll get to the injury report. Again, that safety position is a huge concern. But you know, you can't prevent injuries. You can't do anything about injuries. Just next man up, next man up, next man up, next man up. You know. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through this. We do need to contain Mariota running the ball. Now, he is obviously still not 100% coming off that banged-up injury, but I do have him listed as a full participant in practice so far this week. So they're not telling me if these guys are questionable, doubtful. Yeah, I don't know any Titans receivers that scare me either. Be honest, I mean, if you look at these scores, the Titans are not putting up a lot of points. Okay, so that's good when it comes to our defense. You know, because our defense is pretty solid, and this isn't the Packers' offense. This isn't even the Vikings' offense. We held to 6 points, you know, so that really looks good. But if our defense shows up like we did against the Ravens, then we'll see. However, a lot of people are saying that the Buffalo Bills have gone through the toughest part of their schedule. Those first 4 weeks, everyone was looking at as that gauntlet. Okay, so if we continue to improve now, continue to get better. Josh Allen, that offensive line, the wide receivers, all of it. If we can continue to improve, maybe we got something here. Maybe we got something that we weren't even sure about to begin with. So let's see. Again, this is a week-by-week league. I mean, you saw it. The Titans started 0-1, losing to the Dolphins. No one thought the Dolphins were going to be that good. Now they're 3-1, but they did just get blown up by the Patriots. So what does that mean? What does that mean about the Dolphins? Maybe they're not that good. Maybe they didn't play tough competition. But you say that, but the Titans are now 3-1 too. So aren't they tough competition if they're 3-1? That's what the record says. The record says that they are good competition. But this is a week-by-week league, so we'll see what happens. And unfortunately, injuries a lot of times dictate what happens. So go through the injury report. We'll start with the Titans. The Tennessee Titans, the 2 guys who did not participate this week, Kenny Vaccaro, the safety, and Wesley Woodyard, their linebacker. Limited in practice was Dennis Kelly, their tackle, so he's questionable. Full practice, we have Corey Davis, David Flulen, I don't know, running back. Blaine Gabbert, quarterback, he's not going to see any time, and Marcus Mariota. So he was a full participant. Still don't think he's 100% healthy, but we will see come this week. And then on the Bills side of the ball, the DNPs are Lorenzo Alexander, linebacker, and Kyle Williams. The reason I say those two names first is because every week so far during the season, they haven't been practicing for rest reasons. Come Thursday, they're still not practicing. Friday, Saturday, they start suiting up. So we'll see them hopefully suit up this weekend. Hopefully there's nothing really wrong with them as far as injuries go. We do know that Lorenzo Alexander did go out last week, but was able to walk off under his own power. So that's a good sign. So we'll see what happens as far as coming into this game. I don't expect them to be out. Raphael Bush and Charles Clay also did not participate. Remember, last week at this time, Charles Clay was not participating in practice either, and he still played come the following Sunday. So those guys did not participate, but I do hope to see Charles Clay come practice time. Limited in practice was Shaq Lawson. That's actually good news. That means he's getting a little bit better. He got banged up, came back last week, and then got banged up again. Unfortunately, injuries just keep happening to this guy. Not sure if he's worth the risk on that note, but he's still with the Bills. He's still a Bill for this season. So let's hope he gets better. When he's been in there, he's been able to get some pressure on the quarterback, get some pressure off of Hughes as well. Maybe not as many double teams on Hughes, so Hughes can get some pressure on the quarterback as well. And full participant in practice was Marcus Murphy. Marcus Murphy last Sunday was a scratch on game day. It looks like he is fully participating, fully healthy. So it looks like we might be able to get him in there, get us 3 running backs moving forward instead of just the 2 that we had last week, even though it didn't matter because we only ran the ball a handful of times. So need to run the ball more. Having Marcus Murphy in there might help us out with that. So that's it for the injury report. I hope that kind of clears up some preview about the Buffalo Bills. Titans have a tough defense. I think you see a more concerted effort to go through McCoy this week. We better go through McCoy this week. We have to. I think that's the best shot to win the game. Again, time possession matters a lot. We saw in the Vikings game, the one we won, we had the time possession down almost 2-1. And then the 3 games we lost, we have not had good time possession. So that really affects the game a lot. Hope that we can have that on our side. Taywan Jones is healthy again, after taking that hit. He was in last week, but he didn't really do too well. Hopefully, we get a full complement of wide receivers, Raymond McLeod, Robert Foster, Kelvin Benjamin. He looks like he's fully participating. We also saw him take a big hit, got into a concussion protocol, but he seems to be doing all right. So hope to see him in the game. I know a lot of people knock him. I've knocked him, but he is still a Buffalo Bill. This is still our team. These are the guys we have to believe in. So, believe in. So, that's it for me so far on Believers Talk. Again, join us this Sunday. We will be live right here for the game between the Tennessee Titans and the Buffalo Bills. We will give you live play-by-play and live recap, live reaction. Just can't show the game, unfortunately, due to copyright restrictions, but we will be here live for you, so please be sure to join in. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit that notification bell to let you know when we go live. Go live for every game on Sunday. We will miss the Monday night game on here, and we will miss the Jacksonville Jaguars game. I think that's week 11 or 12, coming off the bye. We are live the day after the game for the recap and reaction show. And then we are also live the halftime of the Thursday night game to give a preview of the game coming up that coming week. Mostly on Sunday because the Bills have all 1 o'clock Sunday games except for that Monday night game against the Patriots. If this Patriots team shows up, however, I'm not liking our chances. They look really good in this Thursday night game. The Thursday night game has just kicked off, so I'm going to get off of here. So if you guys want to, you can go back to enjoying that game. Lots of sports today. We got the baseball playoffs. We got hockey starting. We have basketball preseason, and we have the Thursday night game. So I thank you for joining me. Again, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We're all over the place. Hope to see you soon, but till next time, go Bills.